Good morning. Am I audible? Listen. Now we are going to continue, and today we are going to study the beam reaction. Now, what is meant by beam? Beam is a horizontal member of a structure. Okay, for example, this building is there. उसमें जो horizontal member है, that horizontal member is of a structure is known as a beam. In mechanical engineering, here the shaft of the machine is analogous to the beam. Okay, so all the concepts which we apply or learn related to the beam can be applied for the shaft also. Okay, here now in this part we have to study the different support reactions for the beam. Okay, because of the different loading. Okay, so before explaining you how to find out the support reactions for the beam, you have to calculate that support reactions. You should know which are the different type of supports for the beam. Okay, so first type of support which we are going to learn for the beam is the roller support. Roller support. Yes, kindly unmute and tell me, ये हमारा हो गया था क्या? Roller support, hinge support and fixed support. रोलर सपोर्ट पे रिएक्शन कैसा रहता है, हिंज पे कैसा रहता है?
नहीं हुआ था.
नहीं हुआ था. Okay. The first type of support is the roller support. Now, what happens in the roller support? Here, let's consider suppose this is the body. Here, it is supported at one end with the help of pin. Here, a pin joint है. Here, and that what is the significance of the pin joint? So, at the pin joint, the rotational motion is allowed. The body is free to rotate about that pin. Okay. Suppose that pin is connected to some bracket, and that bracket is resting on some roller.
सर ये मोशन से एक्सप्लेन किया था कैसा मूव होता है. रोलर सपोर्ट का भी किया था और हिंज का भी किया था.
हाँ, मुझे भी याद है कि जब तक मुझे याद है सो ये हुआ था करके. ओके, so what happened? So in short, I will once again explain. Here, what happened in the roller support? Here, suppose this is one rod. Here, it is pin connected at this end with to some bracket. Here, and this bracket is resting on some rollers. Here, so such type of support is known as a roller support. Here, मैंने example दिया था आपको कि एक door रहता है. Here, sliding door. This sliding door is supported with the help of some roller. Here, and that roller are rolling in a channel. Here, so this door can move in the horizontal direction. Okay, so इसका representation ऐसा है. Here it is also represented like this also. Here this is the pin joint, this is the bracket, and this bracket is resting on this surface. Here कभी ये circle दिखाया रहेगा. This represent the bearings or rollers. कभी ये gap रहेगा. So this is also the representation of the roller support. Here sometimes it is shown just a circle. So this is also the roller support. Now I told you that here when I explain you about the support and support reaction, at that time I told you that here whenever the motion of a body is restricted, reaction shall be a force. Whereas when movement, rotational motion is restricted, reaction shall be a movement. या तो रिएक्शन फोर्स भी हो सकता है, रिएक्शन मूवमेंट भी हो सकता है. अगर ट्रांसलेशनल मोशन रेस्ट्रिक्ट हुआ है तो रिएक्शन शैल बी अ फोर्स इन दैट डायरेक्शन. अगर रोटेशनल मोशन रेस्ट्रिक्ट हुआ है तो रिएक्शन शैल बी अ मूवमेंट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन. यार, so here what is happening at the roller support? Because of this roller, the horizontal motion is allowed. यार मतलब अगर मैंने इधर एक फोर्स अप्लाई किया तो ये बॉडी उधर मूव होगा. ये सपोर्ट, ये मोशन रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं कर सकता है. Yeah, so here also this because of any external applied force, here this roller may move in the horizontal direction. So this motion is allowed. ये motion allowed है, इसके लिए horizontal component of reaction generate नहीं होगा. Here this reaction support can't apply the horizontal reaction. Yeah, but this support restrict the motion in vertical direction. यार अभी ये देखो ऐसा channel gate अगर रहेगा, so this channel gate is not free to move in vertical direction, neither in vertically upward or downward. Here, and since this vertical motion is restricted in the roller support, the reaction shall be a force in vertical direction. Okay, here now what is the direction of this reaction? So initially you have to assume whether it is upward or downward. Actually it depends on the external applied forces. Here, if the external applied forces on this body is upward, so because of this force to hold the body in equilibrium, the support has to apply the reactive force in downward direction. तो ही वो equilibrium में रहेगा because it is a balanced force system. Here, so it is difficult sometimes to identify or to predict the direction of that reactive force. So क्या करने का? Initially you can assume. Clear? So at the roller support, here the reactive force is always perpendicular to the supporting surface, and direction of the reaction can be assumed. So at this roller support, since for this reaction the direction is known, so there is only one unknown, and that is the magnitude of reaction. Here. So here also this is the supporting surface, so reactive force is perpendicular to the supporting surface and direction can be assumed. Here also the reactive force, the supporting surface is horizontal, reactive force is vertical, perpendicular to that supporting surface, and direction can be assumed. Sometimes the roller may rest on an inclined surface also. ऐसे inclined surface पे भी roller rest होगा. So in that case, the reactive force is perpendicular to the supporting surface and direction of this reactive force can be assumed. Here with that assumed direction you have to solve the sum, and if that magnitude is positive, assumed direction is correct. If the magnitude is negative, the assumed direction is wrong. Here, so this is the one kind of support which is known as a roller support. Here, so ultimate conclusion is that at roller support, here reaction कैसे रहता है? आपने इतना याद रखा तो भी बस. Roller support पे reaction कैसा रहता है? तो roller support पे here reaction is always perpendicular to the supporting surface. And direction of that reaction initially you have to assume. Okay, and उसमें कितना unknowns रहता है? तो roller support पे सिर्फ एक ही unknown रहता है. That is the magnitude of that reaction. Yeah. The second type of support is the hinge support. Okay. Here the normal. In normal case, the hinge support is the support here at which the horizontal and vertical motion is restricted. Here at our door, here जो main door रहता है, here at this main door, here there are hinges. So these hinges are nothing but a hinge support. What happened at the hinge support? Here at the hinge support, the rotational motion is allowed. Now, since the rotational motion is allowed, there won't be any reactive movement. Reactive movement कब generate होगा? When rotational motion is restricted. Here, so at this hinge support, here rotational motion is allowed, but because of these hinges, here this body is not free to move in horizontal direction, neither in vertical direction. Horizontal and vertical both type of motions are restricted at the hinge support. Here, now since horizontal motion is restricted, reaction shall be a force in horizontal direction. Here, if this support is A, let denote it as a horizontal component of the reaction at point A. Let denote it as a HA. H stands for the horizontal component. Here, and since vertical motion is restricted, reaction shall be a force in vertical direction. Here, this is the vertical component of the reactive force at point A. Okay, so at the hinge support, these are the two unknowns. Here, magnitude of HA and VA. Direction of HA and VA are known. HA is a horizontal component, VA is vertical component. Now, whether it is horizontally towards right or left, whether it is vertically upward or downward, so that direction you have to initially assume. Okay, clear? So, this HA and VA are the two components of the reactive force at point A. So, here at the hinge support, how many unknowns are there? There are two unknowns. At the roller support, there is only one unknown. Which are the two unknowns at the hinge support? Magnitude of HA and VA. These are the two unknowns. Clear? Actually, these HA and VA are what? These are the component of the resultant reaction. Here, I can calculate the resultant reaction also at point A. So, this RA is the resultant reaction exerted by on the body. This is the resultant reaction exerted by the support on the body. Here, this is the resultant reaction exerted by the support on the body. Here, these are the component of this reactive resultant reaction. These are the component. This is the resultant reaction. Understood? Here, now how to calculate this HA and VA horizontal and vertical component of the reaction? You can get by using the conditions of equilibrium. How to get the RA? Yes, since this is the resultant of these two, here that RA can be calculated as RA equal to under root of HA square plus VA square. This is the resultant reaction at A, and its inclination, let's denote it as a alpha. So this alpha equal to tan inverse of mod of VA upon HA. This is the angle made by that resultant reaction with horizontal. Yes. So at this hinge support, there are two unknowns, either magnitude of HA and VA or मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ रिजल्टेंट रिएक्शन एंड इट्स इंक्लिनेशन। एक तो ये दो अननोन है, नहीं तो ये अननोन है। अगर ये दो पता है तो ये कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, और ये दो पता है तो ये कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं। Here altogether 4 unknowns नहीं है, there are only 2 unknowns. Here, so whenever it is asked to calculate the reaction at hinge, here first calculate HA and BA, and after calculation of HA and BA, calculate the resultant reaction at the end. Understood? Here, so at the hinge support, how many unknowns are there? There are 2 unknowns, horizontal and vertical component of reaction, or
Screen freeze.
हेलो, हेलो,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कब से बंद हुआ था मेरा कैमरा?
हाँ सर.
कब से बंद हुआ था?
हाँ हाँ.
हिंज
खाली
सपोर्ट के बाद।
ये फिक्स सपोर्ट एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ था ना
नहीं सर, फिक्स सपोर्ट नहीं हुआ है।
यार? कितना गया फिर? ये मोबाइल भी ना यार. Listen. What is the fixed support? यार द फर्स्ट मैं एग्जांपल देता हूं. सपोज दिस इज द वॉल और ये अपने घर में एक विंडो रहता है. यार ये विंडो को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए यार विद हेल्प ऑफ सम रेन और द सनलाइट यार हम लोग ऐसा उसको प्रोजेक्टेड पार्ट रहता है बाहर. या तो इसको क्या रहता है, इधर इट इज परमानेंटली फिक्स टू दिस वॉल विद हेल्प ऑफ सम कंक्रीटिंग. So this support is known as a fixed support or similar type of support is known as a fixed support. Clear? So क्या होता है यहाँ पे यार, if I apply some force here, यार ये रोटेट नहीं होता है. So at the fixed support ये ऐसा रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. This is the representation of the fixed support. Clear? क्या क्या होता है यहाँ पे, at the fixed support the rotational motion is restricted. Clear? And that's why वो rotational motion restrict करने के लिए this support has to apply the reactive moment. That reactive moment is in anti-clockwise direction or maybe clockwise. So initially you have to assume that direction. Initially you have to assume that direction. Here, this reactive moment is there. Here, when reactive moment is induced, here whenever the rotational motion is restricted, here reactive moment is induced. So at the fixed support, reactive moment is induced. Now at this fixed support, the horizontal motion is also not allowed. It is also restricted. Since horizontal motion is restricted, reaction shall be a force in horizontal direction. At the fixed support, vertical motion is also restricted. Since linear vertical motion is restricted, reaction shall be a force in vertical direction. Okay. Yeah, so whenever there is a fixed support, yeah, there are three unknowns. Here there is a horizontal component of reactive force at point A, if this is A, vertical component of the reactive force at point A, and there is a reactive moment. So kabhi bhi at any particular point, excuse me, so at the fixed support there are three unknowns. Here horizontal component of reaction, vertical component of reaction, and a reactive moment. Yeah. So whenever there is such kind of requirement is there कि with help of that support मुझे horizontal motion भी restrict करने का है, vertical motion भी restrict करने का है और rotational motion भी restrict करने का है. यार ऐसा जब situation रहेगा तो at that time we can use the fixed support. Understood? यार घर में रहता है, अगर आपको सपोज कुछ ऐसा शेल्फ बनाने का, शेल्फ रहता है ना घर में, हम लोग उस पर कुछ रखते हैं, या तो वहां पे वो शेल्फ पे क्या रहता है, क्या रिक्वायरमेंट रहता है, वो हॉरिजॉन्टल भी मूव नहीं होना चाहिए, वर्टिकल मूव नहीं होना चाहिए यार, और वो ऐसा रोटेट भी नहीं होना चाहिए यार. तो वो जो सपोर्ट रहेगा दैट इज अ फिक्स सपोर्ट. तो क्या रहता है, शेल्फ को हम लोग क्या करते हैं, तो विद हेल्प ऑफ सम स्क्रू हम लोग उसको टाइट कर देते हैं, सो दैट बिकम द फिक्स सपोर्ट. Here all the three type of motions are restricted here. So same type of supports are used for the beam here, and we have to calculate this support reactions here. So whenever we have to calculate the beam reactions or support reactions here, first step is to draw the free body diagram. And in free body diagram, instead of this support here, you have to show the support reaction, appropriate support reaction. Here roller है तो एक ही reaction दिखाने का है, हिंज है तो दो कंपोनेंट ही दिखाने का है, फिक्स सपोर्ट है तो ये तीन अननोन दिखाने का है. एंड देन अप्लाई द कंडीशंस ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम. अंडरस्टूड दिस? यार तीनों टाइप ऑफ सपोर्ट आपको समझ में आए क्या, रोलर, हिंज एंड सपोर्ट, सॉरी फिक्स सपोर्ट. दिस इज सपोज्ड टू बी द मोस्ट इजीएस्ट पार्ट इन मैकेनिक्स. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to explain you the types of लोडिंग. हुआ था क्या अपना टाइप्स ऑफ लोडिंग? यूडीएल, यूवीएल, रिजल्टेंट में लिया था क्या हमने? मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा है.
No, sir.
टाइप्स ऑफ, हाँ, ओके. नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू द टाइप्स ऑफ लोडिंग. Here on this beam the different type of loadings are used, applied. Here which are the different types of loading? The first type of load is the point load, or it is also known as the concentrated load. It is the point load or the concentrated load. Okay. Now what is the point load or concentrated load? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what is the point load or the concentrated
Yes, sir.
load? Consider suppose this is one beam. Okay. When the effect of the entire load is concentrated at one point, suppose this load is 100 kilonewton. When the effect of the entire load is concentrated at one point, here such type of load is known as the point load or the concentrated load. Here अभी तक हमने जो भी load और forces consider किए, here force and load is one and the same thing. Here when it is applying on the beam or like that, we see it as a load. Here actually it is a gravitational force only. Here, so when a force is applied or entire effect of the load is acting at one particular point, here that is known as the point load or the concentrated load. It is known as point load or the concentrated load. Here, for example, when I am standing, here the weight of my body here is acting only at one point, so that can be considered as a point load or the concentrated load. Here, when I slip, here the weight of my body is distributed. Here, when I stand, the weight is concentrated at one point, whereas when I slip, here the load is distributed over this much length. Okay, here, so another type of load, second type of load is the distributed load. कौन सा load है? Distributed load. Have you understood the difference between the concentrated or point load and the distributed load? So second type of load is the distributed load. Here, now name itself indicate that here the जितना total load है वो distributed रहता है over some length. That's why it is known as a distributed load. अब ये जो distribution है load का वो भी अलग-अलग तरीके का हो सकता है. Here, so these distributed load are further divided into two parts. One is the uniformly distributed load. Uniformly distributed load. And second is the uniformly varying load. Uniformly varying load. इसका जो थ्योरी है ना, रिजल्टेंट के थ्योरी में दिया है, इक्विलिब्रियम के इसमें नहीं है. रिजल्टेंट का
स्क्रीन फ्रीज हुई क्या?
हाँ.
Now, if you consider this beam led from this point A to point B, इसका जो सेल्फ वेट है, जो कंक्रीट का सेल्फ वेट है, यार इफ आई कंसिडर this 1 meter length or if I consider this 1 meter length, yeah, so the weight of that concrete, self weight of that concrete over this 1 meter and over this 1 meter, it is same.
सर
हाँ
सर अभी स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो गया था थोड़ी देर के लिए।
हाँ तो हाँ वो बंद ही हुआ था, वो बीम दिखाने के बाद में बंद हुआ था ना।
नहीं सर फ्रीज हुआ था थोड़ी देर पहले।
मैंने बीम दिखाया आपको, देखा आपने बीम?
हाँ सर पहला पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया था, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लोड का शायद नहीं होगा।
सर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लोड के बारे में थ्योरी का रिजल्टेंट में है इतना बताया था, उसके बाद फ्रीज हो गया था।
हाँ फ्रीज हो गया सर।
फिर से हो गया फ्रीज।
फिर से हो गया फ्रीज लगता है।
ये दोनों यार कोई आंसर नहीं देता है, कुछ नहीं है। हाँ व्हाट्स द प्रॉब्लम फॉर यू पीपल?
सर सब बोल रहे हैं,
बार बार
सब बोल रहे हैं लेकिन स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो रहा है।
हेलो
हाँ हेलो।
यस सर, बार बार स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो जा रहा है।
सर ये लेकर 3 बार तो हो गया था।
क्या हुआ?
3 बार तो हो ही गया, मतलब फ्रीज ऐसा।
ओके ओके देन हम लोग नेक्स्ट लेक्चर से कंटिन्यू करते हैं। आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद सम इंटरनेट इशू मे बी देयर।
ओके सर।
ओके
Yes.
विल कंटिन्यू इन द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर। जस्ट रिमाइंड मी कि सर यूडीएल से या डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लोड से बाकी था।
यस सर।
सर
ओके
अटेंडेंस
टाइप कर दो,
कमेंट कर देना।
रिकॉर्ड चालू है अभी।